picks so far. There are still 2 more picks in the first round for New Jersey, not to mention valuable prospects already in the pipeline.
New Jersey is changing it all, and it's going to continue here with the 2020 NHL Draft.
Welcome into Prudential Center and NJD.TV's draft preview show presented by GEICO. I'm Catherine Bogart. It's 2020 NHL Draft Week, and the Devils are in a unique position going into this year's draft. They have 3 first-round draft picks and 9 overall selections. This will allow them to add some very key prospects into the franchise as they look to build towards another championship team. Today's show will get you prepared with everything you need to know going into the draft. Not only will we break down each one of the first-round picks, we'll have exclusive interviews, including with Devils general manager Tom Fitzgerald. Now let's bring in NewJerseyDevils.com, Chris Wescott and Amanda Stein. Chris, Amanda, welcome back to Prudential Center and welcome back to talking about hockey. What can we expect out of the draft this year and the talent pool with the prospects?
Thanks a lot, Catherine. You're right. It has been a while, and it feels really good to be back inside Prudential Center, right, Amanda?
Absolutely, and what better way to start than talking about the NHL Draft?
Absolutely, so let's get started. I think this year is very unique, not only because the Devils have 3 first-round picks, but because of how deep this draft is and how really good the prospects are towards the top. We've talked to GM Tom Fitzgerald several times, and he mentions the top 10 to 12 players is probably that top tier, which means at 7, you're probably going to get a guy that normally would be ranked top 3, top 4. So the depth of this top of first round is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're actually looking at the list, there's a lot of forwards on this list right now, not as many defensemen, and then that unique scenario that there's also a goaltender out there.
We're excited to talk hockey.
The Devils' first pick in the first round comes in at number 7. Here are some prospects that we anticipate will be available when the Devils are on the clock. As you can see here, several defensemen, several forwards, and a goaltender. That's unique. Not every year is there a first-round caliber goaltender available. Chris, which prospect speaks to you the most here?
Well, looking at that list, how could you not like all of those prospects? But I'll give you one name I really like, and that's Marco Rossi, the Austrian center. Scored 120 points last season for Ottawa, highly skilled centerman. He's a great skater, got great pace to his game, very competitive. He can light the lamp with the best of them. You know, some more buzzwords about Rossi: competitive, super smart, high hockey IQ. And you know what? I would say grounded. He reached out to Devils forward Nico Hischier when he was coming over to North America. He wanted to learn more about the North American game and about the type of coach that he would have in Ottawa. And when we talked to GM Tom Fitzgerald about some of these top prospects, when he talked about Rossi, he compared him to Nico Hischier, and he mentioned the pride that he takes in his 200-foot game. I really like him, Catherine and Amanda. I think he's a game breaker.
All right, so can I just say here that coach is André Tourigny? I know you probably didn't want to say his name.
I could say it, I just can't say it as well as you, so I decided not to.
Anyhow, for me, I'm looking at Alexander Holtz in that number 7 position. He is a really unique player in that he is widely considered as the best sniper in this draft. You look at his 9 goals in the Swedish Hockey League this year, might not actually sound or feel that exciting, but he is tied for 3rd by a U18 player in SHL history with those goals. He is behind Peter Forsberg and Matt Naslund. Not a bad comparable there. Tom Fitzgerald saying that he is an excellent north-south player, which is the type of player that this team really needs.
Chris and Amanda, you both picked forwards, but a defenseman to look out for in this number 7 spot, Jake Sanderson. He comes from USA Hockey's national team development program, where he captained both his under 17 and under 18 years. That program, of course, the Devils are quite familiar with, as 2019 first overall pick Jack Hughes also played for the NTDP. Sanderson is projected to be a defenseman that can play 25 minutes a night, and he has an NHL pedigree. His father played over 1,100 games in 17 seasons in the NHL. Rounding out potential options at the number 7 pick, goaltender Yaroslav Askarov. He is a tall, athletic, dynamic goaltender who has a very strong hockey IQ. He's played in Russia, but is projected to be a franchise goaltender whenever he does make it into the NHL. With a deep draft and really no consensus on who will go where, there will be a lot of anticipation for these prospects as they wait for their name to be called. And someone who's used to that anticipation is legendary Devils goaltender Martin Brodeur. Brodeur was drafted by the Devils in the 1990 NHL draft, and he recounts some of those experiences and memories with voice of the Devils Hockey Network, Matt Loughlin.
I'm here with Marty Brodeur as the Devils get ready for the draft. And take us back to your draft year and what it was like for you. The world has changed an awful lot, but still an exciting time for any young man.
So obviously for me, it was a great day. Got drafted in the first round. Was not really supposed to be drafted in the first round. So when the Devils called my name, was a bit of a shock. I didn't get the chance to get nervous because, these kids are sitting there and they all think they're going to get to a spot, and sometimes it takes a little longer to get your name called. So it's a little nerve-wracking for you and your family and your friends. But my day was a great day, and obviously it kind of paved the future of my career.
I'm wondering in the interview process, we hear that sometimes players are kind of taken aback, like that question kind of came out of left field. I wonder if you have any example like that you remember where you were like, why were you asking me what my favorite ice cream is, or whatever the probing that they did?
You know what? It was actually, I don't remember anything out of the ordinary when I did these interviews with these teams. It's funny because I became assistant general manager with the Blues, and I was on the other side, and we were interviewing kids, and there was a couple of questions that our people asked some of the young players. I was a little surprised. Obviously there's commitments to different leagues. I remember there was one little Finnish guy that kept on telling us that he was committed to a college, and we knew that it wasn't the case, and he kept on saying it. And after that, he just caved in. He goes, "Yeah, my agent just wanted me to say that." And so these kids are really well coached. They listen to what their agents are saying, their parents, and they're trying to make the best impression. But sometimes you could get caught in a lie, or not a lie, but it's a little white lie anyway.
Yeah, that's a funny story. Funny indeed. You didn't draft that player, did you?
No, we didn't.
More good times for the New Jersey Devils. Marty, thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure, always.
Join Marty during the team's virtual draft party presented by Investors Bank on Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. More details at newjerseyDevils.com/draft party. Each year, progress is made with gender equality throughout the sports world. In hockey in particular, there's several trailblazers who have set their mark on the game. I had the opportunity to talk to 5 of them, with positions ranging from broadcasting to scouting operations. Here's a clip of those conversations, and you can watch the full thing on newjerseydevils.com.
I think the first time I ever told someone that I wanted to become a scout, they just said, you should pick something more realistic. And I thought to myself, when I look in the mirror, I see a scout.
My first day coming to New Jersey to work for the team was during training camp. And I walked into the room and there was probably 80 men in there and I was the only female. And it's a bit overwhelming of a feeling, but at the same time, it makes you proud that you're there representing.
Visibility is so important for these things because it's really tough for a little girl to look up and say, hey, I think I'm interested in doing that if they don't see anybody that looks like them.
You can be a female, you can come from accounting. Sports is welcoming, and it has been male dominated in the past, but that doesn't mean that's gonna be what it is in the future.
When you look at all the next generation of women who want to work in hockey or in sports in general, what advice do you have for them as they're embarking on their careers?
Learn as much as you can, soak up as much information as you can to be just like them, and never give up.
If you just hire people that are exactly the same as you, you're really missing out on the diversity that is this sport and is our world.
It's at the point, this is what I really hope for in the future, where we're not women in sports, we just work together, and we are women that happen to work in sports, but it becomes a little bit less of a novelty.
The more you see women in roles like that, frankly, the more normal it becomes, instead of just thinking, oh, look at that, that's just a token role. It's not. It's women who have proven that they're up for the job, and it's great to see. Hey, we've come a long way, but we still do have a long way to go.
What are you doing?
I can't believe it.
What, that hockey players use a lot of tape?
No. Can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on car insurance with GEICO. Pretty cool, huh?
That is pretty cool. So, which one is Mr. Devil again?
Believe it, GEICO could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to NJD.TV's draft preview show presented by GEICO. The second pick for the Devils in the first round comes in at spot 18. This pick the Devils received in their trade with the Arizona Coyotes for Taylor Hall. Here are some of the prospects that we project will be available during that time. Amanda, which player on this list intrigues you the most?
Caden Gooley is an interesting pick for me. He's a defenseman that's 6'3", has a booming hit, which is something any defenseman can really benefit from. But not only that, he's available to play in all situations on the ice. He's got a lot of numbers on the board when he's playing in junior. I wouldn't expect at the NHL level for him to accumulate that many, but he's a guy that can stop the incoming offense at the blue line. He is a guy that has excellent instincts, and that's not something that you can teach.
Well, Amanda, I think it's kind of interesting that you and I are both going to target defensemen here in that 18 spot, but I'm going to go with Braden Schneider. He's a big, tough guy. He's physical. He can finish his checks. And you know what? Territorial is the word that TSN Director of Scouting Craig Button used to describe him. He's not going to let anything go without a fight. He's going to win you puck battles. When you have guys like Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, you want to win puck battles in the defensive zone so you can put the puck on their stick. I really like Braden Schneider. Shea Weber is a guy that he's compared to a lot, and our good friend Mike Morial also talked about how he can make an impact on the power play and penalty kill. Now, he's not an oh my god end-to-end offensively creative guy, but he can still bring you offense. He's a good defender, and I really like him at 18.
Well, what I like here is that we have two big defenders, and when you think about what Tom Fitzgerald said at the end of last season, it was that he really wants to concentrate on getting that defense a lot bigger, being able to lay out those booming shots, and those are two guys who are able to do that.
Well, Amanda, I think one thing we also haven't talked about in this 18 spot is just how valuable of a trade asset this could be for Tom Fitzgerald. He says he's already making phone calls just to see what the market's like, but he's not going to move that 18 pick unless he gets an offer for a young guy that fits in with that core group that they have now currently on the roster, but is also cost controlled.
He is in a very enviable position.
Thanks, Chris and Amanda. We will see what General Manager Tom Fitzgerald decides to do with the 18th pick. The draft, whether virtual or in person, allows these prospects to make once-in-a-lifetime memories. We asked current Devils players to remember some of their draft moments. Here's what they had to share.
It was really cool. I had a bunch of family. I was close enough that a couple of my friends actually skipped, I don't know whether it was like their senior graduation party or whatever it was, but a bunch of my buddies I grew up with were able to make the trip up to Montreal, and it was an awesome time. I think there was some stuff circling around leading up to that day that I didn't really have a good feeling as to when I would get my name called. So to hear it called in the first round, late in the first round, was a pretty special experience, and it was awesome to have so much support and people that made such a big impact in my life.
Still being a high school student, it was crazy couple months leading up to it. My dad, being a high school teacher, probably helped me a lot, just being able to coordinate with my teachers throughout the whole process of me flying here and flying there for whether it was the combine or the draft or trying to get everything squared away. But being from a small town too, the closest airport is an hour and a half drive away, so I'd be having to get carted in there pretty often. So that was I guess a memory of just doing that drive from Melville to Regina. Pretty much, it seemed like every weekend going from place to place throughout my draft year.
That was a time and an experience that I'll never forget. You know, I had my family down there, my billets, all the people that were really, really important in my life that were down there to support me. You know, we went down a couple of days early to enjoy Florida. You know, we all get to hang out, but in the back of your mind, there's still that, you're still a little bit nervous going into it because, you know, there's still the what if, but I had a good feeling I was going to get drafted. I just didn't know where or when or who, what, where, when, how, but I was there and I tried to just enjoy it. And, you know, I tell everyone all the time, I had no idea I was going to get drafted to the Devils, but, you know, fortunately I was drafted here, and, you know, looking back 5 years now, you know, it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Welcome back to NJD.TV's draft preview show presented by GEICO. The Devils' third and final pick in the first round comes in at spot 20. This pick was acquired from the Tampa Bay Lightning in a trade deadline trade that sent Blake Coleman to the now Stanley Cup champions. But the pick is originally the Vancouver Canucks pick. I know, a little confusing, but regardless, the Devils are the ones selecting at 20th overall. Here are some of the prospects that we anticipate will be available for the Devils when they're on the clock. Chris, who do you like most out of these available prospects?
Well, Catherine, if Tom Fitzgerald chooses to hang on to that 20th pick, clearly from that list, he's going to have a lot of good players to choose from. And Devils fans are going to be like, oh, Chris Wescott, he chose 2 centers in this draft. No, I'm not picking who I think the Devils are going to select. I'm just telling you who's my favorite player amongst this list. And my favorite player on that list, Seth Jarvis of the Portland Winterhawks. I just think he's a highly skilled player. 42 goals last season, 98 total points. He's a bit on the smaller side, but he's very, very creative. He tries things offensively that other players wouldn't even dream of trying because he can accomplish those things. Very good stick handler. He can make plays in a phone booth. When I think slippery skaters, this guy's slippery. And I tell you what, he's a dynamic player. And in a game that continues to get faster and faster, this is the type of guy that you should take a shot on with that 20th pick.
Well, you went two centers, I should say. For me, I'm going to go right-wing defenseman and now a center of my own, and that would be Hendrix Lapierre. Now, this is a player that you might be taking a chance on with that 20th pick, and the reason is because he has been quite injured leading up to this draft year. Only 19 games he played this past season, but when he's healthy, he is a dynamic player. He is dominant when it comes to skating. He's dominant when it comes to puck handling. Put those two together, you've got a player who is going to be dangerous. He is a classic two-way center, and if you look at right now, he's playing in the queue at this moment in his first game. 2 goals, 2 assists.
Amanda, you said something really smart there off the top about taking a chance on a player. And I think at 20, the Devils are in a good position to do that, mostly because they have 3 first-round picks. So if you're going to take a crack at a player like him, 20 is a good spot to do it.
We'll hear more about Devils general manager Tom Fitzgerald's plans for the draft when we come back.
What are you doing?
I can't believe it.
What, that hockey players use a lot of tape?
No. Can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on car insurance with GEICO. Pretty cool, huh?
That is pretty cool. So, which one is Mr. Devil again?
Believe it, GEICO could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you had to pick just one Devils team that you played on to beat an elite alien race in a game of ice hockey like Space Jam for the fate of planet Earth, which Devils team do you choose?
Whew, a little scary. I would probably pick the 2000 Cup team. That team was as fast as it gets, as tough as it gets. So I'm not sure how we're going to beat aliens, but if I would bring that team with me anyway.
You have any chance at saving the galaxy, it's with that team.
Welcome back to NJD.TV's draft preview show presented by GEICO. Remember, fans, join us on Tuesday night for the Devils virtual draft party presented by Investors Bank. Matt Loughlin hosts Devils players, Kevin Smith, and some surprise guests. It all starts at 7:30 p.m. For more information, go to NewJerseyDevils.com/draft party. NewJerseyDevils.com is also the home for all of your Devils draft coverage. Learn more about the Devils selections, get exclusive insight from Devils analysts, and more. Keep it locked in throughout the draft to NewJerseyDevils.com/draft. Devils general manager Tom Fitzgerald enters in his first year in this position with 3 first-round picks and 9 overall selections. Matt Loughlin sat down with the general manager to hear more about his plans to build this Devils team into a championship team once again.
I'm here with general manager Tom Fitzgerald in a very exciting period for the New Jersey Devils as the draft is upon us. And Fitzy, what's going on in the hockey operations department with all this excitement building toward adding to the Devils' future?
Well, a lot. It's a very exciting time for our hockey ops staff, obviously the entire Devils organization and our fan base, with the uncertainty of who we're going to be picking, but we know, the players that we will have the opportunity to pick are going to be impactful to this organization for a long time. So there's some really exciting times down the road here for the New Jersey Devils, and we're excited to lead that.
you've been involved in drafts in the past, but this is the first one where you are the general manager. Does that make it different?
I think so. Yeah, I think you dig in a lot more. Just to be quite honest, you don't want to micromanage things, but you really want to be part of the process and actually lead the process with the criteria that have been set forth to our scouts and what we look for and what we value in players. So if I'm asking them to do it, then I should dig in as well. It's not too hard to watch video on kids, and I've actually enjoyed it. But we just want the right fit for us, and I'm really excited of how the process has gone from even going back to January when I took over, right up into the pause, and how our scouts have dealt with the toughness of not being in person watching games, but really committed to the video side of it. So really excited.
That last question, and we'll let you go. At the end of the 2 days, what do you hope Tom Fitzgerald's first draft as a general manager looks like and the Devils come away with?
Well, so we put a lot of time and effort into building this list to what we value as an organization, and how we want to play. Those criteria are important. Walking away, as I say, especially after 7 and 18 and 20, if I'm doing cartwheels in the Prime Point Lounge, then it was a good day, and I anticipate that. So, I guess doing cartwheels would be the point where I'm really happy about these picks.
Hey, thanks for your time, Fitzy. Don't get hurt doing those cartwheels, but we hope that excitement exists on draft day.
Thanks, Tom, for the insight during this very busy part of the year for you and your team. Chris, Amanda, what are your final thoughts heading into the 2020 NHL Draft?
Well, we heard a lot from Tom Fitzgerald there, and he has so much experience when it comes to hockey. You don't need me to tell you that. Over 1,000 games in the NHL, but then on the business side, he has been in player development. He's been a GM of an AHL team. Of course, he was an assistant general manager before taking this position as the general manager of the Devils. So he's got a lot of experience. He's already started building this team, but now it's his opportunity, especially with those 3 first-round picks, to really lay his mark.
And Amanda, with everything that's going on in the world and this draft shifting to virtual, it's given an opportunity to Tom Fitzgerald to work on something he didn't have a lot of experience in, which was video scouting. And now he says he's been doing more of that than he's ever done, and that it's given him a newfound respect and admiration for what the amateur scouting department does in trying to rank these players. And I think the experience that he's gained this summer preparing for a unique draft is going to make him a better general manager in the long run.
Chris, it's so good to see you in person, not on a Zoom, here in studio.
Absolutely. It's been great. And you know what? 7 months ago, we ended last season, but you know what? Next season starts today.
Chris and Amanda, you are right. The countdown is on for the 2020 NHL Draft. Thank you both for your insight and analysis today. Fans, thank you for joining us on this draft preview show presented by GEICO. For Chris Wescott and Amanda Stein, I'm Catherine Bogart. Thanks for joining.